So previously we discussed in our introduction to economics session about the definition of economics, and we said that it is about managing scarce resources to fulfill unlimited wants, and we are focusing on rational agents. And then we focused on who are the agents. So we said that if a person has any of if he has any of these four properties, either he's a buyer or a seller or an institute or a bystander, then he's called an agent. And and when he's an agent, he should be an irrational agent. So rational agent means he should have these two properties. So in the previous session we talked about in this about it in detail. So hopefully you will cover it up, and then now we'll move forward and we talk about the next point. So next point that we talked about today is what is meant by unlimited wants. So I will try to illustrate it here, and if you have any queries, do ask, and I will try to answer in the chat and shown below. And so so let's list down the things that are our needs. So as an individual, our needs is food, shelter, education, job. As a firm, our needs are raw materials, labor, sales, and stable business. So these are our major categories of needs and wants. So let's see. So now the question, before we discuss what does mean by unlimited, let's say that even if we provide all the needs to the human, suppose these needs are fulfilled and you are getting all the things, he would be more happy or satisfied if we double these needs. Means that let's discuss in a way that if we give him more and more, what will happen? He will be more and more happy. You will never see a point where he will say, take it back, I don't need it anymore, and I don't need it anymore because my needs are fulfilled. So we can say that there is no end of the list that we need and wants. So let's take an example that you are being given free food and you are enjoying that food, and suppose somebody gives you more, and you will never say I don't need any more, I'm famished, and I'm full, thank you very much, please give it to somebody else. Nobody will say like this. So this shows that the nature of human is that the more you give him, the more happy he will be. So the logic that is discussed here is that the more the merrier. The more that he have, the more happy he is. Okay, so we call it in the more the more the merrier is the logic that is used here. So a human is technically is greedy in nature, and what he does is he wants to get more and more because he thinks, or it's in his mind, that the more he will get, the more happy he will be. Okay, so let's move forward. So there is one hadith related to this concept. It is in Sahih Bukhari, and it is rated by one of the companion Ibn Abbas. He said that I heard Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying, if a son of Adam, the human being, had two valleys of money, means if he is rich enough that he has two valleys of money, is too rich, he would wish for the third one. Means he will never say, I don't need it anymore, thank you very much, please give it to somebody else. Even if he has two valleys of money, means दो वादियां भर गई हैं, इतना माल है उसके पास, इतना अमीर, he would wish for the third one. He would like to have the third one. For further, it is saying that I will use different color. So it's the conclusion. So nothing can fill the belly of Adam. No, there is no end point. So you give him more, he will be more happy. He will ask for more. So nothing can fill his belly except the dust. Dust means when he will die. So his quest for getting more and more will continue, and it will never stop, and it will only stop when he will die. So this means that our needs and wants have no endpoint. So we call it, there is no satiation point in our quest for fulfilling needs and wants. There is no reference point that you should not get more than that. So humans will try to ask more and more. So this is the logic of describing unlimited needs and wants. So it means that our needs and wants are unlimited, and it's being given as an example or from the Islamic economic side. Now we go forward and talk about uh, our resources and what are the resources. So we'll go in detailed discussion in the next chapters, but here I will give you some basic resources. So for ourselves, for household, the basic resources time and money. For house firms, the basic resources investment and skills, and ability to, skills means ability to produce, skills to produce, skills and ability to. So for both agents, these resources will end someday if we keep using them. So um, as a human, we believe that if we keep using our these resources, it will finish someday. Okay, but in reality, it does not happen like this. Let's go in there. So how does our resources become scarce and it is not limited? So limited resource means that our resource is not growing and it will end someday. So that's why we do not use the term limited in our definition. Definition में limited word use नहीं किया, हमने scarce word use किया, because limited का मतलब होता है कि वो चीज कभी खत्म हो जाएगी. Scarce का मतलब होता है चीज खत्म नहीं होगी लेकिन वो कम है, जरूरत से कम है. So limited means that resources are not growing, they are not increasing, and they will end someday. And scarce means, so scarce means will go get onto it. So but when, with the invitation of better transportation and technology, we are reaching to our work faster. So what is happening that we are able to use our time more efficiently. जो हमें लगता था कि हमारा टाइम लिमिटेड है, खत्म हो रहा है, थोड़ा है, सो हमने ट्रांसपोर्ट तेज कर ली, कम्युनिकेशन तेज कर ली. We are able to communicate faster, we are able to transport faster, we are able to reach further distances in a lesser time. So what is happening, we are using existing time more better. Similar ways that जो fuel था हमें लगता था दुनिया में खत्म हो जाएगा, the fuel that we think that will get short, what is happening, the new cars are more fuel efficient, so the fuel utilization is getting slower and slower. So it now the feeling that the fuel will end in the future is not there because we are using it slower and slower. Similarly, when we work, our experience gain allows us to get promotion and we get more and more income. Okay, so what is happening that when we so our income was limited, but with the time, with our experience, we are gaining our salaries. So what is happening, our income is also increasing, so it means it is not, it will not end someday. So scarce means that let's see if the definition comes in next slide. So how does resources become scarce and not limited? So hence resources are not limited because we are using it better as compared to our past. So because of our better utilization, the resource are not, will not be finished. Second, but our resources are scarce because no matter how fast they grow, they are still not enough to satisfy our needs and wants. Means that uh, their availability is not is not high enough to meet our needs and wants. Why? Because our needs and wants are unlimited. So, but resources cannot be unlimited. So if the resources become unlimited, then it's not an economics issue. For example, the air is unlimited for us, so we don't talk about air in economics. The sunlight is unlimited for us. We don't talk about sunlight in economics. The Allah's blessing is unlimited for us, so we don't talk about blessing in economics. Okay, so so everything that is scarce and and it is used to fulfill unlimited needs and wants, it is creating an imbalance. Imbalance means the resources are not high enough, but they are growing, but their growth is slow, and the needs and wants are unlimited. They don't have an endpoint. So needs and wants which do not have any end point. So if you don't have any end point, then there is no way that you can justify that the resources will eventually catch up. Okay, so eventually the definition of scarcity means the limitedness of a resource as compared to its to the expansion of needs. Means it is talking that our resources are fewer than the use of that resource. जो हमने उसे काम करना है वो काम बहुत ज्यादा है, एंड यानी हमें रिसोर्सेज बहुत ज्यादा चाहिए. रिसोर्सेज पीछे हम ग्रो तो कर रहे हैं, तरक्की कर रहे हैं, उसको अच्छा बना रहे हैं, लेकिन वो इतने ज्यादा नहीं हुए कि वो अनलिमिटेड नीड्स एंड वांट्स को मीट कर सके. Let me give another example of describing the word scarce. Let us write objectives in terms of write the available objectives that we use when we describe the availability of things. So first objective that we know is that is very abundant. Abundant means too many. Then there is sufficient. That means equal to our needs. So if the resources are too many, we use the word abundant. If the resources are equal to what we need, we call it sufficient. So sometimes we say it's sufficient for us, alhamdulillah. So equal to our needs. Then there is term called scarce. It means it is relatively less than our need. Means what we need was higher, but it is relatively less. Means we need 100 units, but they are 80. And there is limited, means it is shrinking. Means our resources are less than our need and they are shrinking. So eventually they will finish. And so we need to prepare for ourselves. Then there is word called short, limited, and then we'll call it rare. Means very short. The things are very short, so it's now precious. So it's very short, so it becomes precious. So if the resources are very short, we call it precious. So some animals are very rare now because they are very few, so we call it rare animals or precious species. Then it's finished. No more. If the resources are finished, we call it no. So these are few adjectives. So you can see in the scale from finished to too many, scarce is above limited. Scarce means that the resources are there, Allah Ta'ala is giving us, and they will eventually grow, but they are not growing as fast as the speed of our needs and wants, because we are not happy on our two valleys of gold, and we are asking the third valley, and then our resources are not that many. So we have discussed this. Now let's move to next slide. So now let's move to a point. So what does Islamic economics talk about scarcity? Islam ने हमें scarcity के बारे में बताया. Scarcity is there to promote productivity. Means अगर माल scarce ना होता तो अगर वो if it was abundant, nobody will work, nobody will look for better ways to produce or live. So what will happen? There will be no promotion, no incentive for people to work. So the scarcity is ensuring people to try to improve. अगर resources थोड़े हैं तो लोग कोशिश करेंगे नए से नए तरीके निकालें कि रिसोर्सेज को अच्छी तरह इस्तेमाल कैसे करें. So अगर scarcity ना होती तो scarcity अगर नहीं होगी तो what will happen? That nobody will work. For example, if in this course, if the university says that everybody will get an A grade, so nobody will study because they know that they will get A grade anyways. But if they say that you have to perform to get the marks to get the grade, then there's an incentive to work. Okay? And that will make people work. So scarcity makes reward more attractive. So if the resources are scarce, then you will try to achieve better outcomes and you will be more happy. So your reward will be more attractive. So there is an example of Bani Israel. So in Quran Majid, the people of Bani Israel were given Mano Salwa and उन पे मनो सलवा उतरता था तो जब मनो सलवा आता था यानी खाना फ्री मिल रहा था. So because of that वो कामचोर हो गए क्योंकि उनको रिसोर्सेज फ्री मिलने लगे. तो इस कुरान मजीद ने एक एग्जांपल दी बनी इसराइल की कि जी अगर हम स्कास्टी खत्म कर दें तो क्या होता है, लोग काम काज करना छोड़ जाते हैं और भटक जाते हैं. So in an example of Bani Israel, we learned that if there is no scarcity, they will not be productive anymore, and they will be deviated from the righteous path. So the source of scarcity. So how scarcity comes? So according to economics, this scarcity is permanent. Economics कहता है कि scarcity permanent है, कभी ठीक नहीं होगी. And क्यों है? Because दुनिया में आबादी बढ़ रही है. So there are too many people in the world, and increase in people means increase in needs and wants, and so scarcity will never finish. There are two examples in Surah Hud, ayat number 6, that there is no. अब कुरान मजीद क्या कहता है? कि scarcity is temporary, means जो मेहनत करेगा उसको फील होगा कि ही इज सेचिएटेड है, उसकी ज़रूरियत पूरी हो रही है. अल्लाह ताला उसके जो कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ नीड्स एंड वांट्स और रिसोर्स स्कार्सिटी में है उसको ईज कर देगा, आसानियां कर देगा. उसको फील होगा कि उसकी ज़रूरियत पूरी हो रही है. So how there is no moving creature on earth, but its sustenance depends on God. यानी दुनिया में कोई भी जानदार चीज ऐसी नहीं है जिसका रिज़्क अल्लाह ताला ने अपने हाथ में न रखा. He knows where it lives and where it rests. So everything is in a clear book. So what it says that Allah Ta'ala ने गारंटी ली हुई है हर बंदे के रिज़्क की. इसका मतलब scarcity is only a temporary or mental or psychological issue. It's not permanent. So अगर हम अल्लाह ताला के रसूल को फॉलो करेंगे तो वो जो रिज़्क है हमें वही एग्जिस्टिंग रिज़्क की ज़्यादा फील होने लग जाएगा. Second, in Surah Baqarah at 155, we surely test you with something of fear and hunger and loss of wealth and lives and fruit, but give good tidings to the patient. यानी जो सब्र करेगा तो उसको हम आसानियां करेंगे, उसके लिए बरकतें हैं, लेकिन हम आपको डर, फकर, माल के नुकसान, जान के नुकसान से टेस्ट करेंगे. यानी the scarcity is actually a test. Scarcity of wealth, scarcity of food which leads to hunger is a test by Allah Ta'ala for those who are patient. तो सबर को चेक करने के लिए scarcity यूज है. So here we discuss that the scarcity is merely worldly phenomena, and it is because to promote people to work. Otherwise, it was not a serious issue in terms of Islamic economics. So this is how we describe scarcity. So scarcity in economics is an issue to handle, but it's not a permanent issue as discussed by conventional economics. In Islamic economics, we talk that it was there for to handle things, to promote productivity, but it is not a permanent issue. Allah Ta'ala is there to feed us, and if we are grateful to Him, the scarcity problem will be not a bigger issue for us. यानी अगर हम अल्लाह ताला का शुक्रगुजार हैं तो होगा क्या कि जी अल्लाह ताला उसी स्कार्सिटी को हमारे लिए छोटा कर देगा. Let's move to next slide. So what will happen? So if there is scarcity, what will happen? It will lead to choice. So in any we, let's write it here. So scarcity bring choice means now since resources are scarce, we cannot choose everything that we need. So हर चीज हम नहीं ले सकते, हमें कोशिश करनी पड़ेगी कि जो चीज लेनी जरूरी है वो पहले लें. So which caste society we can only avail few things, few of our needs and wants. Hence we have to choose between long list of needs and wants. Let's see. So what will happen? So the process of selecting needs and wants is in 3 steps. So how to do the choice? So economics provides us the process in which we choose. The first step is the first step is we need to rank. That was in the rationalityism definition. So first of all, when we are going to the shop, and we want to buy 10 things, but we have the income to buy 2 things. हमारे रिसोर्सेज से 2 चीजें खरीद सकते हैं, लेकिन हमारी लिस्ट में 10 चीजें थी. नाउ वी हैव टू चूज. तो स्कार्सिटी इज ब्रिंगिंग चॉइस. सो वी हैव टू चूज 2 थिंग्स. अब कौन सी 2 लें? सो विच 2 थिंग्स वी नीड टू बाय? सो व्हाट फर्स्ट वी विल डू इज we'll do the value judgment. We will arrange the 10 items in terms of its importance. So the top important item will be on the top, and the least important item will be on the bottom. So we will compare all the needs and arrange them in terms of their importance. So this way we will have a importance wise list. Then in the second step, what we'll do is we'll select the best one. So we know that we can select the best 2. So out of the list of 10, what we'll do is we'll select the first 2 items. So we have to choose only one needed to be fulfilled. So first 2, then we select the best one from the arranged needs. So when we arrange them into decreasing order of importance, we'll select the first 2. And what will happen to the left others? So others will be left for the next time. Means when we have resources available, we will pick the list up and we'll try to buy them. So all the needs which were not able to fulfill, we left it for the next time when we have resources to fulfill them. So these are 3 steps. So let me summarize it briefly. So when we have to choose, first we arrange them in terms of importance. Then we select the best 1, 2, 3 which are affordable. Then we leave the others for the next time. So this is the way we describe the process of choosing. Let's go to the last slide for today, and let's come here. So what is the concept of opportunity cost? So I will make sure that you will differentiate between cost and opportunity cost. So I will try to answer that too. So the definition is that cost expressed in terms of the next best alternative which was sacrificed. Means that let me write it here. Suppose you had to select between A and B, and you had resources for selecting one item only. So you selected A. So this was your action. You selected A because you arranged it in terms of importance. So A was on the top and B was on the bottom, and you selected A, and B is traded off. So the gain from this action is gain is equal to A and loss is equal to B. आपने जो एक्शन किया है वो स्कार्सिटी की वजह से आपको फायदा हुआ A का और नुकसान हुआ B का. ठीक है. So अगर हम कहेंगे जी जो फायदा हुआ है उसकी अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट क्या है, सो ओ सी इज आल्सो बी। ये कॉस्ट नहीं है, अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट है, बिकॉज you were forced to do sacrifice B, not you intentionally sacrifice. So this is not cost, this is opportunity cost, because this scarcity has forced you to leave B rather than you intentionally leave B. So this is opportunity cost. So the cost expressed in terms of next best alternative which was sacrificed. So the action that you did had gains equal to A and opportunity cost equal to B. So what is the benefit of this action? It helps us to view the true cost of decision making. Okay. So true cost of decision making, what does it mean? True cost of decision making. So it means now you compare how good what your decision was. So if A is better than B, it means your decision is good. So what is A? A is, let me add, A is benefit and B is OC, opportunity cost. So if the benefit is more than opportunity cost, then your decision making is good. And how it can be calculated? It can be only calculated after value judgment. Means if you don't arrange it into increasing or decreasing order, then you cannot calculate opportunity cost. And for the last option that we, so for opportunity cost will always is always less than the benefit for from the best outcome. So for a rational person, opportunity cost will always be less than the benefit. If it is other way around, then that person is not rational. So this was the concept of the opportunity cost. If you have any question, you can write or you can ask. Thank you very much.